Okay, welcome back. I just want to go over a few things that are good to know in the options section for your decks. So if you open options here, you really have to be careful playing around with this stuff actually. I've gotten fairly comfortable messing around with it over the course of using this for a long time. But only learning from people that know a lot more about the program than me, and all of them, strongly recommended not messing around with this too much when you're first starting out. But there are a few things that it's good to know. So the first thing here is this section, the new cards per day. This is typically set to 30. I've set it all the way down because I'm on summer break right now and I'm trying to work on some other aspects of my life, not using Anki quite as much. Although I am still doing some reviews. So 30 cards a day, depending on what material you're covering, especially, can become overwhelming pretty quickly. And so just know that you're not obligated to actually do 30 new cards per day. If you're adding a lot of cards, you can, add those cards into the system, but not have them enter your review cycle until a little bit later down the road, depending on what your new cards per day limit is. So if you want to create new cards, but you don't want to just drastically overwhelm yourself, you can lower this to whatever number, seems most fit for your schedule. Another thing over here in the reviews tab, so maximum reviews per day, this is typically set to 200. Again, because I'm on break right now, I've lowered this quite a bit. I'm trying to keep up with some reviews, but, within a reasonable time frame. So that takes care of the options section, and then there was one more thing that I wanted to show you guys. If you go over here, you see underneath file these two options, import and export. It's pretty important to know what these are and how to use them. Okay, so if we go to export, basically what this does is it creates a file, a hard file, that contains all of the information, all of the cards from either a single deck or your entire Anki collection. So how would this be useful? It's really useful for two reasons. One, you want to be creating backups of your cards for yourself in case your data gets corrupted, and so you don't lose all of those cards that you worked hard on. Another thing that it's really useful for is if you want to share cards with your friends. So there is a way to share decks through the Anki website, but it's also really useful to just have a file that you can send to your friends, put it up on Google Drive or give it to them on a thumb drive, something like that. So when you're exporting this, if you put Anki collection package, it'll include everything, all of your decks. If you put deck package, you can select which deck that you want. And we hit export. There's actually I have a folder dedicated to these. So as you can see, I back up fairly consistently. I think the last video I made, I said it was about once a month, and it looks like it's actually a fair bit more than that. You probably don't need to do it as often as I do, but you get the idea. Just having some backups for yourself every so often, and then actually realistically about once a month I'll upload one of these to the cloud. So I'm probably a little bit more paranoid about the data getting corrupted than I need to, but it's just something to be cognizant of. And again, you can also use this to share your files with your friends, and you don't have to do it for your entire collection. You can just send them a single deck this way. So that's using the export. Okay, now if you're sharing with your friends, now they can use the import function. So if we go to import function, what it'll do is it'll search for a file type that corresponds with Anki decks. So let's say that you had put one of your friends' decks into download. You could select it here, and it would open that file. Once it was done importing, you would have your friend's deck in your main hub here. So yeah, those are just a few more useful things to know. If anybody has any questions or wants me to go over anything specific, let me know, and I'll do my best to do it. I hope this was useful to someone, and yeah.